Well, now to an opponent. The presidential candidates may not have expected the New York media. Hillary Clinton already blasted for struggling to swipe her Metro card and get on the subway in New York City, as Ted Cruz tries to make amends for his past references to Donald Trump's so-called New York values. Cruz trying to change the focus, meeting with the Jewish community leaders in Brooklyn, while John Kasich attempts to appeal to New Yorkers by eating at Mike's Deli. Howard Kurtz joining me now. He's the host of MediaBuzz. Howie, I first want to ask you about Hillary Clinton. And the campaign has made all these attempts to try to make her a real type person. Did they jump the shark when they decided to put her down on the subway?
No, because apparently hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers have had trouble swiping the Metro card to get on the subway.
Howie,
but it shows you if you're going
not like that.
If you're going to do that and you mess up, it's going to play in an endless loop, not just on New York television stations, but nationally. I love the way that the New York journalists are so excited, all pumped up to finally have a presidential primary that matters. Usually by this time it's all wrapped up. And so we saw the Bronx cheer welcome for Ted Cruz, for example, that big Daily News headline suggesting that he take the F and the U subway trains. And Cruz, on the defensive, got heckled in the Bronx, went to eat matzah in Brooklyn. It's a tough place to campaign, and the attitude is, it's fine for you candidates to go to those nice states like Iowa, but let's see how you do it on Broadway.
You know, I have to wonder, though, if all that wall-to-wall coverage that the New York media will be giving them, and it's not just the tabloid newspapers, it's everybody, because every media organization has somebody here. So there's going to be an explosion of coverage, but if that could actually end up helping the candidates, if the media ends up being too tough on them.
Well, it depends on how they handle it. Now, obviously, it's a home field advantage for Donald Trump, who grew up in that tabloid, tough culture. In fact, that's how he became a national celebrity, getting into feuds with Leona Helmsley or Rosie O'Donnell, making the headlines on the gossip columns in the New York Post. On the other hand, you know, Hillary Clinton, former New York senator, but we all know she's from suburban Illinois, so that she had the little problem on the subway. And then you got Bernie, you know, who sounds like Larry David because he's from Brooklyn, but he's lived in Vermont for decades, but at least he speaks the lingo. I got to think that's worth 3 or 4 points in the polls. But yeah, it's kind of like a test, and it's a gauntlet that you have to run if you're going to compete in New York. Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I can see you're salivating certainly right there. I want to ask you about Donald Trump and some changes being made to his staff, adding some new people to his staff. Do you think that the media strategy that he's employed thus far is going to change now that he's bringing in some new people?
We're at an interesting pivot point for Donald Trump because for the last few days, at least, he's held one major rally. He doesn't seem to be doing any interviews right now. I'm sure all that is temporary. Now, the press is having a fine time saying Trump campaign shakeup. Well, every winning campaign or a campaign that's out ahead brings in new people and expands. And to hire Paul Manafort, a veteran D.C. delegate counter, as we head to probably a contested convention, makes a lot of sense. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's this huge disarray, another favorite journalistic word.
It's what campaigns certainly have to do, and he's had a shoestring in terms of his number of people, and so of course they would have to bulk up. Howie, I want to ask you what you've got going on the show today, or this weekend rather.
Sunday on MediaBuzz, we will look at how the campaigns are dealing with New York and how much Wisconsin matters in the long run. We've also got an interview with Jill Kelly. She's the woman who was caught up in the David Petraeus sex scandal because he was a friend of his and of another general, and she's now speaking out about the secret emails and how the media, frankly, ruined her life with a lot of false reports that turned out to suggest that something improper was going on when it was not.
Really? I want to hear that interview. We'll be checking it out.
Good.
Howard Kurtz, thanks so much. MediaBuzz. Always love talking to you.
Thank you.